poem, Dance of the Eunuchs by Kamla Das. We have already done the first poem introduction. Uh, this is a very beautiful poem. I am sure you're going to enjoy it. Dance of the Eunuchs by Kamla Das. Eunuchs is a term which was originally used to refer to people who were men who were castrated in order to guard the chambers of the ladies in the olden days during the days of the kings. But in the present day, this particular term can be translated in Hindi to the term which we often use, that is the term called hijra. And the term is usually associated with a class or a group of people who belong to that particular class known as the hijras. In English, they are referred to as the eunuchs. Now, many of you have seen these people, and the normal perception is that they are not good people. That is the normal perception. And we fail to notice the pain and the kind of social distance, social, you can say, stigma associated with being the kind of person that eunuchs are. Now, this particular poem talks about the sterility, the barrenness, the social stigma associated with this particular class of people, and the pain that they have to go through all through their lives in order to fulfill a particular kind of identity. Okay, now let us go to the poem proper. Let me read out the poem. It was hot, so hot before the eunuchs came to dance. White skirts going round and round, cymbals richly clashing and ankles jingling, jingling, jingling. Beneath the fiery gulmohar, with long braids flying, dark eyes flashing, they danced and they danced. Oh, they danced till they bled. There were green tattoos on their cheeks, jasmines in their hair. Some were dark and some were almost fair. Their voices were harsh and their songs melancholy. They sang of lovers dying and of children left unborn. Some beat their drums, others beat their sorry breasts, and wailed and writhed in vacant ecstasy. They were thin in limbs and dry, like half burnt logs from funeral pyres. A drought and a rottenness were in each of them. Even the crows were so silent on trees, and the children, wide eyed still, all were watching these poor creatures. Convulsions, the sky crackled, thunder came, and lightning and rain. A meager rain that smelt of dust in attics and urine of lizards and mice. Not a very long poem, but it is symbolical. Kamla Das has vividly described the dance of the eunuchs, and the symbols that are there speak of the total barrenness and sterility and the lack of joy in the lives of the eunuchs. It has this particular poem has was included in the first collection of Kamla Das's poetry called The Summer in Calcutta, published in 1965. The poem is also autobiographical nature because the poet's life was a life where there was no love, and the symbolism of the eunuchs is associated with the symbols of, as I already told you, barrenness, emptiness, and that is supposed to reflect the life of the poet. And the joyless, tortured dance of the eunuchs is again echoing the joyless life of the poet. And as I already told you, the eunuchs are marginalized community. They are victimized by the mainstream society, and the poet feels that even women, like the eunuchs, are victims of patriarchy. Just as the eunuchs are marginalized, no one looks upon them as human beings. Very few of us look upon the eunuchs as human beings. They are human beings with feelings, they are human beings with pain, who can feel pain, but we never look upon the eunuchs in that particular way. We always look down upon them. So, this is something that seems to echo the life of a woman in, they are also victims of patriarchy. Now, the poem, if you go through it once again, you will see that it gives a very vividly visual description of the eunuchs dancing on a very, very hot day. The heat was oppressive and it was not at all conducive for dancing, but the eunuchs kept on dancing. They danced till they bled. They danced because they had to earn money. Without money, they could not sustain themselves, and that is why they kept on dancing. The symbol of the white skirts, the anklets jingling, the long braids flying, the flowers, the jasmine and the gulmohar, all these symbols are what? They are all symbols of a particular gender identity. White skirts worn by women or girls, anklets, bhorit pinha payal, anklets, these are worn by women or girls. Long braids, again, these are what? A symbol of a woman. So these symbols, they are trying to express a particular gender identity. And what is that identity? This is an identity that they are performing. That means they are performing as a particular gender. And in order to perform that gender, they have to have these particular what? These particular characteristics: anklets, wide skirts, then long braids. So that means their identity is nothing but a performance. So these images, the wide skirts, anklets jingling, they somehow seem to parody their gender identity. Because as you know, they are neither men nor women in nature. So we they try to be women, but then they have certain characteristics of men. So these images seem to offer a kind of parody to their gender identity. Now, a particular theorist, a very famous theorist called Judith Butler, in her book Gender Trouble, she talks about gendered identity or gendered behavior as a learned performance, which means that we learn to behave as a particular gender. We learn how to be a woman, we learn how to be a man. If you cry, you are asked not to cry like a woman, which means society is telling us, or society is teaching us, that in order to be a man, you do not have to cry. In order to be a woman, you have to do this. That means all our gendered behavior is nothing but a performance. This is a very famous uh, theory by Judith Butler, which she talked about. There are other things in this particular book, but in Gender Trouble, she talks about gendered behavior as a learned performance. So, keeping this particular theory in mind, you can say that the behavior of the eunuchs is a kind of performance. So, they have jasmines in their hair, they have tattoos on their faces in order to hide the imperfections of their face. They have green tattoos on their faces. So they try to imitate the normal behavior of the feminine. So if you think that feminine has a particular normative behavior, that means if you are female, you are supposed to behave in a particular manner which is deemed to be normal, then these eunuchs are also trying to behave or trying to perform that particular behavior. Through what? Through jasmines in their hair, through long braids, through dances, through twirling skirts, and whatnot. And the dance of the eunuchs, even though they wear such good clothes, they wear a lot of makeup, they are hiding all their imperfections, they are wearing flowers in their hair, even after all these decorations, the dance of the eunuchs is never looked upon as an aesthetic spectacle or as something beautiful. The dance is never looked upon as a beautiful dance. You will not go to a auditorium to look at this dance, but it is a performance that is looked down upon. It is a customary tradition to invite a eunuch to dance, but no one comes to look at the dance as such, because the dance is something that is looked down upon. Even the voices of the eunuchs are harsh. Their songs are full of melancholy. Their themes of the songs are those of lovers dying and children which are left unborn. That means their lives, these are symbols of what? These are symbols of sadness. These are symbols of losing something. These are symbols of dying. So these themes portray nothing but their depth of pain. And they beat their drums in, as they sing, they beat their drums. They beat their drums on the flat breasts and writhed in a show of false joy. They are expressing a sense of joy, but that joy is false. And they are beating their breasts, but then the poet refers to it as sorry breasts because they are actually not women, and they cannot boast of having a particular physical dimension as that of a woman. So they lead a very sad existence because society never looks upon them as normal human beings. And the barrenness of their lives, the sterility of their lives, it is also echoed in their physicality, in their physical appearance. Thin, the poet describes their limbs, their hands and feet, legs, thin, dry, like the logs of the funeral pyre. That means just as you put the logs on a funeral pyre, sitar jibilak kori dia hoy. Just like that, their limbs are thin and dry. And even the spectators, the audience who are watching the dance of the eunuchs, they are merciless. The crows that are sitting on the trees, they are in silence. What do crows signify? Crows actually signify doom. But even the crows are sitting in silence. The children are wide-eyed because they have never seen anything like this before. No cheering, no applause, but nothing but cold silence. So there is these spectators were also without any mercy towards the eunuchs. And then comes the rain. The rain comes with thunder and lightning. But it was just a meager rain, very scattered, less rain. And that rain was not enough to wash off the dirt and the pain of the existence of the eunuchs. It still carried the smell of dust. What is dust? Something ordinary. So, like the eunuchs, the dust is also ordinary. And the rain failed to wash away the dust, The rain could not wash away the smell of the urine of the lizards and the mice. What are lizards and mice? Ordinary creatures which we which we do not pay any attention to. So they live in the gutters. The mice live in the gutters. The lizards, very ordinary thing. So it is as if the eunuchs are compared to these creatures. And it was not enough to cleanse the lives of the eunuchs. For the eunuchs, life would continue in the same way. They would remain unloved, they would remain ordinary and barren. These are the qualities which define a eunuch, and the poet feels that her life also echoes the same qualities as those of the eunuchs. Hope you have understood it. Thank you.